Welcome to FEOLDA's monthly educational Zoom. We're featuring board member Chris Eaton, who's going to guide us in sound healing and has some history and reflection on that prior to the actual practice. Welcome.
Well, welcome. Thank you to everyone that came. I see some familiar faces. If everyone wouldn't mind staying on mute, I don't think I have that. So, sound healing. I always like starting off with a little bit of a backstory of me and how I came to this and the conclusion of why I use this and what I do in the death and the dying world. But I started off life a little bit rough. I experienced a lot of things that were kind of hard to explain, hard to manage. So when I was young, I got bullied a lot, shoved in lockers, black eyes, things like that, and I didn't really know how to deal with it. So I just took all that information, I shoved it under the rug because that's how I was taught. Put it in the closets where we bury the skeletons. And as I continue navigating life, I just continue to acquire. And instead of having a couple skeletons, eventually I had a warehouse. And when you don't deal with your emotions, they have to come out in one way or another. Sometimes we see this in real life situations like road rage or other times where people just lash out on you. And sometimes we see it in ourselves of where we get triggered one way or another, and that just accidentally comes out of us. So energy must come out. And by the time that, I ended up joining the military. I spent 5 years over in the war zones between Iraq, Afghanistan, again, experiencing all sorts of different types of energies there. Things that were a bit harder to explain. And when I came back, I coped a lot through excessive alcohol drinking, other activities that just to, be able to push that energy through the system, or so I thought. 2018 came around. I had enough of this world, as exciting as it was, and I attempted suicide at that point. And fortunately, I woke up. But I went on a journey after that point, 5 years going in and out of Western medicine and everything that it had to offer. Nothing wrong with Western medicine, but the pharmaceuticals and the 24 different therapists that I talked to, it was not enough. It was not bringing me true healing. And I was seeking not to jump from one pill to another or from one therapist to the next for the rest of my life. I thought, man, that's going to suck for another 50 years if I got to keep doing that. So I went on another journey. And this time, the divine majesty, God, consciousness, whatever it is that you would like to call it, pretty much blessed me and my wife with a new journey. And that journey included a shaman. I went through plant medicine, and that completely shattered my first 40 years of my life. I now walk in such beauty. I love life every day, even the weird ones, the frustrating ones, and all of it. But I can now see the beauty in life. Um, but when I went on that journey, after I came out, I wanted to find how is it like, where did I go wrong? Where did society go wrong? How is it that I spent over 20 years in, different churches and different religions? I went from Christianity to Buddhism to Hinduism to Gnosticism, to just flicking both birds at the sky and saying like, what the hell's wrong with this earth? Everyone says that this is going to help me. It didn't. Either I wasn't listening, which that's a different story that could come back at a different time, but I wasn't ready. And so plant medicine for the first time really grounded me and had me sit still. After I went through that, I had to ask, what is it that other people are doing around the world that is causing them to stay in stillness? How do they walk in, handle life when it's unfair? And we all were able to witness um, hold on, I got to turn off my phone. So I started after the shaman, then came the Tibetan monks. I had some monks that came into my life, and I ended up sitting with them for over a week up in Spring Hill, Florida. And they were able to sit with me and talk to me about all the things that were going through my head. And I asked them, what are your daily practices? What do you do? Turns out that a little bit of silence, a little bit of discipline of growing the mind and understanding what we are, as well as music. And that's where frequency started to come into my life. So I noticed that almost all of the shamans and the monks and even the Olympians would, before they would go out onto stage as they were prepping, they would wind down. They would take a couple of moments to go inward to really, really deeply, deeply focus, emptying the mind and settling. And somewhere in that stillness, they began to use music. For the shamans, it was the drum, or maybe it was another instrument. And now, for many of the musicians that exist, or the Olympians and the others that exist, they use breath work to self-regulate the body. So as we experience things that are difficult, things that are too much, either big T trauma or chronic, or just the WTFs of this world, like if you're driving in Florida, it drives me insane. So I might get worked up some. I might feel frustrated. How do I self-regulate? And I learned that that was through the breath. And so through stillness, through breath, and through sound, all of them are helping us turn off that sympathetic system that says fight, flight, freeze, and reverse it, turning on the parasympathetic, which is rest, relax, and digest. I didn't know that I had the ability to do that. I thought I had to drink alcohol. I thought I had to take a pill to reduce the pain in the body or the pain in the mind. So as I began exploring this and writing down all the different things that I knew worked for me, I said, man, it would be really cool if I could create an experience that lasted maybe an hour long and really help people drop quickly, whether they were facing death or they were facing just a jerk boss or crazy teenage kids that don't want to listen to them anymore. And so that's where I ended up with this. What I'm going to play for you guys, it'll last about 26 minutes. We'll get it started here in about 5. Hopefully I don't put any of you to sleep through all my talking. But what this does is it has 9 different modalities in it. It's going to combine sound, meditation, guided meditation, which will bring you back to the breath, and it'll do an energetic release. So through this, we have you breathing and you're going to listen to the audio and the guided meditation, and it'll have you follow a path of whether you're going to be breathing in through the nose or the mouth. Along that journey, you will have a few different types of sound that you will hear. One of them is called binaural. If you want to give hearts or thumbs up or whatever, if these words sound familiar, but who's familiar with binaural? Anyone? Cool. All right, got a couple thumbs there. All right, everyone's awake. Cool. Has anyone heard of solfeggio? All right, cool. All right, so binaural, solfeggio, and everyone knows frequencies or chakras. Those are we can call them chakras or we can call them the glands of the body, but everything has a different frequency in the body so that you're going to hear the frequencies go up and down throughout the journey. Now, for those that don't understand the science behind binaural, binaural's been around for, I don't know, a very long time. When you put the headphones on, and that's important once we start listening to this, that you have a set of headsets. It won't work if you're just listening to it from your computer. You could use the earbuds or over the ear, but I'll give you a couple minutes in about 4 minutes from now. So the binaural, what binaural is when you put it on, the sound will feel like it's traveling. You'll maybe hear it above, below, or around. That's intended. And what's happening is your ears will hear it and they start sending messages to each other. Left here, hey, are you hearing this? So and so. What that does is it's called neurogenesis. It begins to create new brain matter in the skull. You can listen to Joe Dispenza on Gaia if you want to know a little bit more about the science behind it. Important part is when we're stuck, like I was in suicidal ideation and PTSD, our neural pathways feel like they're permanent. So if I was ever in a vehicle accident and I heard glass break, from that moment on, every time I hear glass break, what do you think's going to come to mind? I'm going to think of that vehicle accident. And so what this does is create new brain matter, which says, there's more options. Yes, I heard the glass break, but, it could be something else. And so simply by playing this, they've been using it with people with ADD, ADHD, and PTSD for almost 40 years. They have found by simply listening to this for a few times a week that it begins to create new brain matter and allows them to not have as strong of a reaction to whatever their triggers are. The next is solfeggio. Solfeggio, as you listen to this, you're going to hear the sound begin to fade and the voices get lower and lower, as if you went to a hearing test, and then you hear that lovely ringing for a while. What this does is when we are in fear, when we feel like our options are getting less and less, the world begins to feel maybe a little bit claustrophobic or like it's shrinking on us. There's not as many options. So in solfeggio, your ears are going to hold on to that sound as it fades, and this begins to create a feeling of more expansion, as if the world is getting a little bit larger, pulling the weight off of our chest. So again, all of these are designed in order to turn off that sympathetic, which is helpful for survival purposes, but most of us are not facing near-death experience in this moment or on a day-to-day basis. So this is going to allow you to work with the breath for self-regulation, turning on that beautiful parasympathetic and allowing ourselves to relax the body, even though what we may be facing might be frustrating, but we don't need to feel it through the entirety of the body. I'm going to pause right there and get to what everyone's been waiting for. If there's any questions along this, I'll paraphrase with a couple things, but shoot a message into the chat. I'll put everyone on mute for this. And then at the end, we'll do some Q&A. So should you want to share your experience, feel free to let me know. Any questions at this point? Cool. I am going to get this set. I'll give everyone a minute so you can go ahead and grab your headsets. If you have not, you can be in whatever position you want. There is no right way to do this. I do encourage you closing your eyes. That way you can get deeper into the experience. Eliminating things. Don't sit there and play on your phone. Just allow yourself, be here in present to feel through.
Welcome to today's 9D Nidra journey, a restorative breath meditation that sits at the junction between sleep and meditation. The origins of this beautiful practice are some 3,000 years old and is used to create a natural pathway to enhanced healing, self-awareness and well-being. This is a breathwork experience to fall asleep to. This practice is designed to anchor restful states of being, non-doing, helping you to become a witness to everything and ultimately transcending to nothingness, where you crave nothing, becoming simply restful peace. Naturally focused breathing and body awareness during this practice helps you to craft a new code, reprogramming the deep subconscious mind, significantly boosting recovery through sleep as you drift on the tide to delta brainwaves. So let's begin. Finding yourself lying down comfortably with your hands resting naturally by your side. Eyes closed as you settle into a state of relaxation. Allowing gravity to pull your body deeply into the space that's fully cradling you. Giving way to any heaviness. Letting go and becoming lighter. Begin by breathing in and out of the nose, activating the rest and repair mode. nice, low, slow, deep breaths to center yourself. Making any slight adjustments in your body to find maximum comfort, bringing awareness to any sounds in your environment, simply noticing them and letting go. Bring your attention back to my voice, relaxing even deeper, becoming simply restful, deeper with each breath. Now, to set our intention, a new code to anchor into the deep recesses of the subconscious mind. I am entering deep relaxation, effortlessly guided towards my sleep state. Continue breathing in and out of the nose. Slow, deep breaths. As you repeat this positive affirmation 4 or 5 times, just allowing it to seep into the subconscious mind. I am entering into deep relaxation, effortlessly guided towards my sleep state. I am entering into deep relaxation, effortlessly guided towards my sleep state. Bring awareness to the body now. Notice any area of tension in the body. Breathe into the tension with the inhale, switching it off, relaxing and releasing it with each exhale, allowing yourself to fully relax, experiencing peace and tranquility. Experiencing peace and tranquility. Now, let's travel throughout the body, systematically pointing the mind to different areas mentioned. Relaxing, releasing, and letting go of any tension that you become aware of. Deactivating each area on this sensory awareness adventure. Calmly breathing at your natural rhythm, promoting a deeply peaceful position of rest. Forehead, around the eyes, eyelids, cheeks, the tip of the nose, lips, jaw, chin, neck, right shoulder, upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist, back of hand, fingers, the right palm, left shoulder, upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist, back of hand, fingers, left palm, upper chest, stomach, upper back, lower back, right hip, thigh, knee, lower leg, ankle, top of foot, toes, whole foot, left hip, thigh, lower leg, ankle, top of foot, left toes, whole foot, the upper body, the lower body, the whole body. Allow yourself to experience a sense of oneness, accepting and embracing everything that comes to your awareness. Release any need for effort or control, and observe without judgment, simply allowing things just to be as they are, becoming simply restful peace. Feel the stillness grow as you guide yourself through, nurturing and directing inward exploration. Sense your body now heavier, as you let go, falling deeper into a state of relaxation. Gravity pulls you even further, falling into the nest you have created around you. The breath, like water, will find its natural path if you just let it be. Stiller, deepening the healing state, riding on the waves of delta, deepening recovery, effortlessly the mind grows calm. Imagine as you breathe inward, you breathe in peace. As you breathe out, you leave any thoughts or memories to the great healing ocean. are now simply the witness of the body breathing. Welcoming restfulness, a stillness, a sense of freedom cascades around you. Free from any judgment, very relaxed inwardly, expanding beyond the usual realms of rest. Continue effortlessly, now losing yourself in the soundscape of sleep.
All right, you can keep your headsets on. Hopefully my voice is not too loud. That was a 15-minute version of which I will play for all of my death doula patients, so people that are just going through a hard time, whether they're at the hospital or not. There are longer versions, which are 75 minutes. Those are the ones that really kind of work through building up energy and creating a release. Some of you might have seen some videos online where there is yelling or screaming or people shaking their body. Typically when we do the 75-minute session, people express or release their energies in various ways. So those might be some of the videos that you see online. I am going to play a 6-minute version of a different one, and then we can go open for some Q&A for anyone that has questions. So well, I'm going to pause for a second. Is there any immediate questions before we play the next 6-minute downregulation journey? Okay. Y'all are a great audience.
This is a 9D breathwork experience brought to you by 9D Breathwork. Welcome to the revolution in wellness and healing. Today we'll be doing just 5 minutes for a nice reset of the body and the mind. The following is a nervous system down-regulation breathing technique, which can be used anytime you need to come down from an overactive mind, an activated fight or flight state, and into a state of rest and relaxation. For this technique, we'll be breathing into the nose for a count of 4, holding our breath at the top for a count of 2, and releasing very slowly through the nose or the mouth for a count of 6. We're going to be doing one round of 5 consecutive minutes. But if you only have 2 or 3 minutes to spare today, just do what is manageable. Just follow along with the breather and allow yourself to slip into a state of total and complete relaxation. Go ahead and get yourself situated in a nice, comfortable seated or lying down position, and we'll begin in 3, 2, 1. Nice and slow, gentle breath in through the nose for 2, 3, 4. Holding 1, 2, on a slow release, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back, nice and slow, 2, 3, 4. Holding 1, 2, and a slow release, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming right back in, 2, 3, 4. Holding 1, 2, and release, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue to follow along with the pace of the breather with every breath, allowing your mind and your body to completely relax and be still. No stress, no worry. Feeling the overwhelm just melt away with every breath. Your mind is becoming soft and still. Just for today, you will not focus on the things that you cannot control. Today you have the power to make positive, lasting changes in your life. Today you choose to find small moments of peace. Today you are capable of getting through the tough times. Resilient. Today you will just show up and do your best. Today you will take breaks and focus on self-care. Remember that you are loved and you are enough. Today you know that you are worthy of good things and you welcome them into your life. Rounds, closing out this session with a renewed sense of calm and grace. Last sequence, coming in nice and slow for 2, 3, 4, holding for 1, 2, final release, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and return to a nice soft breath. Make sure to bring this state with you out into your day. Anytime you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, just remember to slow down your breathing and extend your exhale. This will quiet your mind reduce your heart rate, and bring you back to your center. We hope you enjoyed this 9D breathwork experience. Speak to your 9D.
All right. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, I didn't really know how to self-regulate, whether I was the one that was getting all the stressors, or if I was helping someone out, or if I was at work. I didn't know how to manage the onslaught of the felt sensations in the body. And so when I am sitting with someone that is just told that they have terminal and they've got 3, 4, 5, 6 months to live, there's a lot of thoughts. There's a lot of emotions for both them, the survivors. And then many of you, I know, are caregivers, which I would argue we all are. We all wear many different hats. And so I teach these tools as in breathwork, as in meditation, and the various tools that they are. So as we're navigating life, we can still have our ground. We can still have access to all the information that we need and remain calm so we can make clear decisions, whether it's at work or moments of potential panic, or when we wake up and I have 3 fractures in my spine. I can wake up and be the angriest person ever. I could start playing my violin, I like to call it. I also can be like that when I'm hangry. And so simply by recognizing when I'm in a disturbed state or upset state or overstimulated, I just simply pause, and for roughly about 2 minutes, I'll just focus on my breathing for just a couple minutes. And that begins to turn on the parasympathetic, which allows the body to relax. And then I can more accurately deal with whatever it is that's being presented in front of me. Would love to hear if anyone would like to share whatever questions you might have. I can geek out on you guys and talk on the science behind it all, or I could play another session. There you are. Thank you for sharing that, Kelly. It's hard, especially when it's mom, dad, close. Would anyone else like to share their experience or their thoughts?
Chris, could you talk a little bit about the echoing voices that were the undertone to that last practice?
Yes, so that works in conjunction. Sorry, I just saw Sinead. So the voices that are there, think of it as words of affirmation. When we begin to, your inner dialogue that happens, this is another major shift I had to do. So post-suicide to now, my motivation used to be what the world offered me, which was I better yell at myself and I better reprimand and say, you're horrible. How dare you do that? You're stupid or whatever. And so the inner dialogue. I never really said, I love you, Chris. I never said, you can do this. I always thought that was just ridiculous. Why would I ever affirm myself? I was like Chris, I was Superman, you know? That was what the world told me. And when I learned to begin to pause and really question, what is that inner dialogue? What is it that I'm saying? And so throughout these sessions, they're words of affirmation, things of which I would highly encourage each of you to pick up and say to yourself, and say, I can do this. Even when my body hurts, I can be the best mom. I can be the best dad. I can be the best whatever. Those words is what allows us to begin to believe. So those are the words that are in there. Oh, thank you, Melissa. What we put in through our eyes through our ears, our surrounding. You can read books and books about this. You become your inner 6 people or 10 or whatever number. There's no real written down proof on it, but whatever you're spending the most of your time absorbing is that of which you will become. And so that's why another reason I really love this stuff is just because it does have those words that are of beauty, encouragement, and growth. Did that answer, Christine? Cool. So the crafting of these modules, there's 96 so far. I think there's 8 or 9 that are crafted by females now. They're fantastic. There's I think 4 in Spanish, and it continues to grow. So it's been around for about 10 years. They had a Stanford, I don't know, whatever. There was 10,000 people that underwent a test on there. They all qualified for having quote unquote severe PTSD. And afterwards they found that by listening to this for a week, an hour a day, that they had reduced suicidal ideation by 40%. So whatever it is that's happening during all this, Bonnie, I've asked Brian, he's the founder of this, and I don't know what 9D stands for, so I just joke with him. I'm like, it stands for 9 dimensions, 9 modalities, but I like the 9 dimensions just because I'm into the consciousness conversation. So collectively, when this was written, it was written by a group of spiritual people that wanted to take all the ancient medicines of the sound bowls, the Tibetan bowls, the crystal bowls, the tuning forks. They wanted to take the shamanic drum and all of this. And then they studied many of the different modalities of back in the day when you were in a village. They used to call them the medicine man or medicine woman. And when the men went off to war before they came back, they had to go off into the wilderness, and you can hear about it in Austria or Australia with the walkabouts, and hear about it in other areas. And they would isolate them and allow them to come back into body, back into consciousness before they could re-enter the society. Because if too many people came at once and they all brought in the rage of war, that would turn a village. And so they held the presence and they sent them into isolation to clear the mind, to come back into heart. And each of the different traditions, whether it included plant medicine or not, allowed them to sort through the overstimulus, the thoughts that were going through the mind. The question of, did I just do what I had to do? Or whatever it is, the guilt and the shame is the same of that of which you bear a burden in war. That's coming from my experiences. It's a lot to deal with, but you have to let it go. And so they took these practices of the origin and all of the sound, and they took modern psychiatry, and they got musicians to put this all together. And they wanted a track that we are going to get you to relax the body, using all the somatics, which you can use at Yoga Nidra and many of the other different ways in order to get the body to relax. But by simply having you breathe, relax, breathe deeper and slower and relax, we begin to get you into a super deep state of where you're open to listening and letting go at the same time. So this was put into methodology using all of that. And then recorded at a studio to be able to be what I just played for you today. The really potent ones where people are really getting a lot of impact are the 60 to 75 minute versions. We didn't want to keep you all here for an hour and a half or 2 on the first experience, but should you give great feedback, then maybe we could do an encore at some point. So you can get the full experience. Sinead, the science behind it, I explained up front a little bit on it, but if you have further questions, you have the binaural, and that's sending messages back and forth. This one is neurogenesis, working on creating new brain matter. And so by allowing that, it just creates an expanse to where I no longer feel that everything that we experience in life, for the rest of your life, your brain will give you suggestions of whether you've experienced it before. It took me a long time to learn about this. It's just a suggestion. And my brain just loves to suggest the worst things that ever happened to me in my life every time I experience something new that's awkward. Um, so that's where the binaural comes in. And even if you fell asleep while listening to it, allowing the music to play begins to build the new brain matter. So that's on that portion. And the solfeggio creates expansion. The frequencies, it's how I like to envision this is each of you, when you came into this world, you have your own frequency, you have your own song. It's your song. No one else has it. But we're born into these hospitals and they have loud sounds and frequencies. And then mom and dad have their own frequency and their song. And they might be adamant that you become their song. And society has their song, which plays louder. But we weren't told to crank up our music. And maybe we got punished for trying to live out our song. And so by taking these moments and pausing and coming back into that silence, into that stillness and playing this, you begin to hear your song again. It comes through. And then I say, crank it loud and live your authentic self. Because to me, anxiety and depression came from me not living on my real path. I was trying to live through other things. And this is one of the stories that I hear time and time again of my patients that are dying. Why is it that so many of us have to wait for crisis or hitting that brick wall in order to change, when internally we knew it? Trying to think other things on the science side. So the sound, by simply playing the tune of which your body is harmonized with. So if I were to take we'll call it a temperature, and we were to take a temperature of the human body, it would be 98. If I were to take a temperature of something else, it would be different. The same thing goes with frequency. So if I point a frequency measuring tool towards a piece of metal versus wood versus this versus that, they're all going to have the different frequency levels that are on there. And in that, your physical system, your body, we call it the chakras. The chakras are simply the glands within the body. And those glands each have a different frequency from top to bottom. And so by playing the frequencies of the tuning forks, if I hit a tuning fork and I put it at the right area of your body of where it is, your body will remember what that frequency is. And it begins to sort through everything, and it says that this doesn't belong here. There's something here that doesn't belong. And so it sends that message throughout the body, and it begins to release, whether it's an emotion or a thought, or maybe it's a manifestation of a physical thing that has started to form, whether it's a cyst or not. I can put on my tinfoil hat on another conversation, but I love frequencies and how they help tune the body. But simply by listening to the right music and staying in tune, particularly as we navigate through life, becomes really important to centering and grounding and stilling ourselves amongst the chaos. Oh, thank you, Callie. Callie's one of our, I'm going to spotlight you for a minute, Callie. She is a shamanic teacher that is at her place. She teaches Kundalini and some of the other more advanced and conscious practices. She's also a tea ceremonialist. So should you find your way in Tampa, I have to put in that plug. Come on over for some ceremony and sound and everything else. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Well, what I would leave with you is this. Thank you for coming. Thank you for experiencing this. Please, whatever it is, whether you're a caregiver or you're someone that's navigating any stress in life, find time in your daily routine just to spend a couple minutes with yourself, to ground yourself, no matter what it is that's going through your life, and talk about it. Talk about it with your family. Talk about it with your friends. Be weird and talk about it because that's what the world needs. Share, live in love. Blessings to you all.